Today on Anatomic.
It's our culture to stay with our parents for as long as we can. And our parents that have taken care of us, we feel like we're kind of abandoning them. We feel a sense of guilt, but we shouldn't feel that way.
So what we're looking at, a lovely plate like this here, we've got a lot of, processed, refined foods. So a Danish pizza, some nachos, and apple pie. Okay, delicious to have, but really, really not so great for your blood sugars. Okay, so this would put somebody's blood sugar right through the roof if they were having this kind of food.
The easier one, of course, you start off from your knees, okay? It will be the push-up from the knees, and you're going to use your hands, of course. Your hands are going to be slightly wider than your shoulders.
Afroglobal Television is a global super channel that transforms the destiny of people of African descent through programming that informs, empowers, entertains, and uplifts. The mission of Afroglobal is to showcase the best of Africa and the diaspora.
Watch Afroglobal Television on Channel 2472 on Bell 5 and Channel 708 on Rogers Cable.
Welcome back. In this segment, we're going to talk about foods and foods in relation to diabetes. We have with us dietitian Rebecca Nazareth. Rebecca,
Yes.
Can you help us over here?
Most definitely. So when it comes to diabetes, a lot of people that have diabetes would be looking at ways to lower their blood sugar. Once you have a lot of blood sugar in the bloodstream, blood can get really thick. So think of a water pipe that gets really rusty and the water can't flow properly.
Okay.
So similarly, your blood cannot flow properly through all your arteries. And what happens is over time you can develop heart disease, you can have high blood pressure, and then it damages the nerves, or it causes cuts. All that sugar causes cuts to your nerves, which then leads to maybe losing your eyesight or losing even your leg, or maybe brain function.
A variety of different
Exactly, because the
complications.
blood supply is cut off and the oxygen supply is cut off. So the cells slowly die in your body, and then you get complications.
Because oxygen travels through the bloodstream.
Exactly.
Now, can you tell us some of the foods that diabetics should avoid?
Most definitely. So what we're looking at, a lovely plate like this here, we've got a lot of, processed, refined foods. So a Danish pizza, some nachos, and apple pie. Okay, delicious to have, but really, really not so great for your blood sugars. Okay, so this would put somebody's blood sugar right through the roof if they were having this kind of food throughout the day or a few times a week even. What we want to try to use is something like what we talked about with the food guide, and we have just the basics. So grains that have a lot of whole grain to them.
So these would be the foods that you would eat as opposed to having something like that?
Exactly. So using things like quinoa or buckwheat or as well bulgur, you want to use a lot of these whole grains because they have more fiber. Okay, so we're looking at about 2 to 4 grams or 4 grams per serving for fiber, up to 25 grams of fiber per day. Okay, and that could be obtained through fruit, vegetable, and whole grains. And what that would do is it would lower the cholesterol and it would regulate your blood sugars. So there's two types, there's soluble fiber and there's insoluble fiber. Insoluble is the type you get in vegetables and fruit.
Okay.
And what that does is it helps you kind of to go to the bathroom, keep you regular.
Oh, yes.
And the soluble one, which you would find in something like oatmeal or pulses, such as the ones we have here, something like chickpeas, that would really lower the cholesterol and regulate your blood sugar.
Awesome, awesome. Now, let's talk about fluids, okay? Alcohol.
Okay.
Okay, let's begin with that, and then we're going to talk about soft drinks.
Yes.
Okay, people with diabetes have to watch out for that, don't they?
Yes, most definitely. So with 24 hours after drinking, when you have diabetes, your blood sugar can fall really low. And what could happen then, you could end up in a coma, you may not even wake up. Okay, you got to make sure you inform somebody you've been drinking. You got to make sure that you're eating carbohydrate-rich foods to provide you with sugar as well. So you may grab, a slice of bread with some peanut butter. Okay, you may grab some crackers and cheese, a substantial amount of carbs, and eating prior to, eating while you're drinking, and then checking your blood sugar the next morning. Okay, because we have what's called the aftermath of a low blood sugar that is a big risk for people that drink alcohol.
I thought that was called a hangover.
Well,
No?
yes, a hangover with most of us, but there's a lot more to look at when it comes to diabetes. Yes.
So it's not that you should automatically, totally avoid alcohol, but you have to be careful about it. Is there a recommended consumption level? Or is there such a thing? Or is there, because some people, there's a joke that says you should always drink with moderation, and the person says, who's this moderation person you keep asking me to drink with?
Yes, most definitely. So you're looking about 14 drinks a week for men and 9 drinks a week for females, okay? Now that's like a guideline, but we're not saying please go and have 14 drinks. We're just saying that's a rough figure, okay? So a standard 12-ounce beer, a 5-ounce glass of wine, or 1.5 ounce when it comes to the hard liqueurs, okay? When it comes to beer, you want to make sure you go with light for lower carb amount, or you just go up to the 2 drinks, 2 to 3 drinks, 2 to 3 beers at a time. With the wines, you want to stay away from high dessert wines. And go with the lighter ones. And liqueurs don't carry a lot of
Does it matter
sugar.
if it's red, white?
That does matter. Some of the wines can be sweeter than others and can contain more natural sugar. So you do want to look for the amount of carbohydrates you're having.
Awesome. What about soft drinks? We're not all of us
Excellent
love
question.
to drink alcohol. Some of us who can live with just water and soft drinks.
Yes.
But soft drinks can also cause a problem for diabetics. Is that right?
Excellent question. So this is about the amount of sugar that would go into a 12-ounce can of pop.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. So we're
Can I
talking.
see that?
Yes. So we're talking about over 6 to
Wow.
10 tablespoons of sugar.
That's 12 ounces.
Yes, which you wouldn't even see in a can
And
of sugar.
that's in a cup.
In a can of sugar.
In a can.
of pop, sorry, yes.
Wow.
Okay, so when it comes to the sugars, you want to make sure that you're actually thinking about how many grams of carb. So a very good rough number that a lot of people would use is about 15 to 20 grams of carbohydrate when it comes to a snack. 45 up to 60 grams of carbohydrate when it comes to meals for females, and then 60 and up for males, depending on the age and gender. So that's something you can talk to about with a nutritionist. But you want to be careful of hidden sugars, right, which they throw into juice. You want to go for 100%.
And I was gonna touch up on that. So we're not really saying that you should stay away from drinking soft drinks, but we're saying that if you're going to get it in a different form.
Exactly. So be aware of what the hidden sugars are like. So this is about 3 oranges squeezed in to make this much juice, which is a half a cup. You'd never sit down and eat 3 oranges, right? But we chug it in a glass.
I hear you.
Okay, so that's where you want to think about how much sugar is going in.
Yeah.
So a good tip is to really go with fresh when you can. Dilute this with something like soda water, which doesn't have any extra added sugar.
To give you that fizz if you want to feel like you're drinking pop.
Exactly, or carbonated water as well to give you fizz.
Yeah.
Throw in ice, use other lower calorie, free calorie items to mix in with your high sugar juices.
So do not necessarily stay away from the fruits, but make sure that you're eating fresh fruits. Don't have it in a juice,
Exactly.
in a glass.
You got it. That's basically all there is to it. Yes.
Fantastic. So now let's talk about foods that are good for you, because we already talked about foods that are bad for you.
Yes.
Okay? What are some of the examples of the good foods that we're talking about here?
Yes, so what we're looking for is you want to include a lot of healthy fats, so using something like olive oil, your nut oils as well, okay? We want to use something like flax, which would help to lower the cholesterol.
Okay.
So I use flaxseed in yogurt, or you can use flaxseed in your sauces and stews, up to a tablespoon, 1 to 2 tablespoons a day. Excellent for lowering cholesterol, and as well olive oil for heart disease. We want to include a lot of vegetables as always in terms of providing us with insoluble fiber.
Yeah.
And then as far as, added salts as well, we want to season with herbs as opposed to salt and pepper for everything, okay? So using natural herbs would really help lower the salt amount. So salt, fat, and sugar is the 3 areas that once we tweak and we look at the good foods,
Yeah.
preparing them whole and adding your own types of ingredients would be very beneficial for your blood pressure and heart disease.
So use spices
Yes.
instead of using the salt itself. So you could use lemon to squeeze into your, salad instead of putting salt.
Excellent. So yeah, a great point. A lot of people use the ready-to-go seasonings,
Yeah.
which have added salt in them, and you don't know how much. So you want to use fresh lemon juice, fresh herbs. You want to use the individual spices. So if you pick up cayenne, paprika,
Yeah.
and use that in combination,
Yeah.
that would be way better for you because you know exactly how much salt you're getting.
That makes perfect sense. Rebecca, thank you for coming on the show. You've dispensed some really important information. I hope you've gotten some really important information from what she has dispensed for us. We'll be right back. Up next, the easier one, of course, you start off from your knees, okay? It will be the push-up from the knees, and you're going to use your hands, of course. Your hands are going to be slightly wider than your shoulders.